Okay. So the second time that during this period that I described earlier, when I was in the midst of my campaign for U.S. House of Representatives, I heard from someone else, someone who I consider my third grandmother. So Mimi and I had an interesting relationship because I have reason to believe that Mimi, she didn't like me because she was homophobic. I personally think that she may have been a lesbian, and that's kind of why she didn't like me, because I was the little gay boy who didn't know that he was gay, you know? But I always made the effort to really talk to Mimi. I was the one out of us that could speak Spanish the best. So I was always trying to do more to get Mimi to like me, but she always liked my brother the best. Like, she just loved my brother. That was her favorite. And then my younger siblings, but again, didn't really care for me. And it's fine. It's fine because anyway. So, this instance that I'm getting ready to describe. This happened while the campaign had already been launched, whereas in the previous video was, leading up to the campaign launch. So I was at a friend's house. This person I consider to be one of my spiritual mentors. I will talk about this person in another video. I actually talk about her in the animal communication video. But anyway, I went over to this person's house. I'll say her name because it's not anything that I'm trying to hide. I'm not lying about anything. So Mary invited me over to her house. She had her daughter over, and they made me lunch. And I was in a really weird place because not only was I in this campaign that I'm not here to talk about that, but that was just sucking the life out of me. But I was also either on the last rocks or I had just broken up with my boyfriend. So I remember that kind of fog was going on. And they were doing, they could tell that something was up, and they were doing everything to try to cheer me up. God bless their souls. Mary and her daughter. I'm so sorry, I don't remember her daughter's name. I follow both of you on Instagram, both of her daughters, but anyway. So while we are there and we were talking about the campaign, and we were talking about, because again, this is somebody who I do consider to be one of my spiritual mentors, and we talk always very openly and blatantly about spiritual things. And again, I'll talk about this in another video, but her cat called for me. We were introduced through her cat. I know how that sounds, but that's the truth, and she'll tell you the same thing. Again, I'll tell you that story in another part. Anyway, we're sitting there having lunch, and then all of a sudden, and I do remember that we were talking about my campaign. All of a sudden, she says, "Do you know Mimi?" And my heart dropped. And I was I just remember having this moment where I was wait, she's here? It wasn't a question of whether or not I believe it. I so believed it. It was more a shock of if of all people to show up right now, why Mimi? What the hell is she doing here? And I will never, ever, 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 ever forget what Mary said. So not only was it a shock that Mimi was even there, and I remember her saying that she's I don't normally get this kind of thing. This doesn't normally happen to me, but Mimi, she wants a part of this. And I know that she was referring to the campaign. And again, the fact that I was now doing this, and the fact that I hadn't made any kind of connection with her because I had spent my entire childhood trying to make a connection with her and being rejected by her. So yeah, now that she had crossed over, I didn't necessarily prioritize her, especially during this part of my life. But I remember being so shocked that she came through that time. And Mary was just as shocked because she, again, does not normally receive messages, from people who've crossed over. And she heard the name Mimi, and that was, the message was that she wanted a part of that, of my campaign, wanted, as shocking as that was, totally unexpected in the fog of my life that was my campaign, and the on the rocks, whatever you want to call it, that I had with my first and only ex-boyfriend, boyfriend. Nothing was as shocking as the message that I got from another family member. And I will tell you about that message and that person in this next video.